So, spoiler alert, I was the U.S. Go Congress 2018 9x9 Go champion. Specifically in the Don level, there's also a Q champion, but they don't really count because that's Q players. Sure. Actually, the Q champion was Bethany Nyborg. I met her. She's very nice. Congratulations to her. It is a handicap tournament. The rules are as follows. You have 6 minutes of standard time. I mean, I should say absolute time because there's no Byoyomi. You have 6 minutes to play the entire game on your clock. The Komi is 6.5, but every rank of difference between you and your opponent is a 2-point reduction. So if you were a 4-dan playing a 7-dan, that means it'd be a half-point Komi for white instead of a 6.5-point Komi for white. This game I'm going to show you is the championship game. I played against a slightly older than me, that is, a Vietnamese player named Bing. And he's 5-dan, strong player, you know, we played this game. Let's see, after I think it was you play 5 rounds at your table on the first night of the Go Congress, and the next day I think we did 2 rounds of playoffs, and then this is the second day or the third day of the 9x9 tournament, quote unquote, where we just were able to find time to play the championship game. So that's sort of the setup. One of the reasons why I think I did so well at the 9x9 championship tournament was for the past 2 years since my son was born, I haven't been playing as many 19x19 serious games of Go, and I'm hoping to change that this year. I think my son is now kind of old enough to be a little bit more self-sufficient and not need super attention all the time, although he actually just loves attention, so it's difficult. Anyway, so I've been playing a lot of Go on my phone, and my iPad is how I've been playing Go. So it's been a lot of 9x9, a lot of 13x13. So that was kind of my spirit going into the Go Congress this year. Anyway, in this game I am black. I'm playing the 5-dan from Vietnam. And here, let's show you some of the game. Maybe. Oops, there we go. Why doesn't my... Oh man, I haven't used KG. I've been using Lizzie. I forgot how to use the Sigoban app. Anyway, for this tournament, I was specifically not playing the 5x5 move, which is sort of the most common opening Joseki move you see on a 9x9 board. And the reason I wasn't playing it, even though I know a lot of those Joseki and a lot of those variations, is because everyone else knows it too. And that was just part of my mindset, was just, let's not play the thing that everyone knows. It's 6 minutes on the clock. Whenever you can make your opponent have to think about a new situation or do a little bit extra reading than they would otherwise have, that's an advantage for you. And it worked tremendously well for me. Whenever I played the 4-4, my opponents had to readjust a little bit. You could tell, this is not as common of an opening. It's still a common opening. It's still, people see this, right? This is not unheard of. But it is a little bit uncommon. I think that was a very helpful advantage for me. He responds over here, which I think is okay. The first 4 moves on a 9x9 board are challenging to comprehend all the possibilities, right? I sort of feel like the 5th move is really where things really get going. And you can adopt a really severe style starting at this move here. Do notice that my opponent was playing very conservatively. Even though he only has a 4.5-point Komi, he sort of blocked out a 2-space base on the 3rd line. I have a 2-space extension on the 4th line. If we just wall each other's territories or our respective territories off, black wins by a lot. Having an extra line of territory is a big deal on a 19x19 board. There's just not that much space. If you can make 20 points of territory on the 9x9 board, that's a lot. That's potentially a winning amount of territory if you can reduce your opponent. So if you find 20 points, that's what you're looking for. I play this move, which is a move I've actually, in my more recent 9x9 games after the Go Congress, I've actually been playing moves like this as more as my second move. Just very conservative, just threatening to take a big corner right away, kind of initiative. And in the game, my opponent gets a little bit worried about it, right? He can look at the 2 sides of the board and see how much bigger black's is than white's, and feels immediately compelled to respond. Now, I kind of think he should respond somewhere away from this. I think this is my strength. Maybe this side, but he dives right in, and this is a fight. I don't think there's anything wrong with this move. It's just yeah. I mean, there's plenty of variations after this that lead to him winning the game. And after the game, we actually spent quite a bit of time just playing out several variations to the end, And on my 9 board, you can do that, right? 'Cause it takes like 30 seconds per color to play out a variation to the end of the game if you're with a strong opponent. So I don't think this is a losing move by any stretch of the imagination. It just kind of goes against. It feels like it plays into my hands a little bit. You'll see. Okay, so I play here, which I put this game into Leela a little bit. Leela does do 9x9. Lizzie does not. But it didn't have the right Comey. I don't think I can adjust the Comey value or whatever it is. I don't trust it. Let's say that. So I actually kind of thought this was a more suboptimal move, but I think when you see the result, I think it's playable. I can't really actually criticize this move that I played. It does actually start to make actual territory. It gives me nice shape. I guess the one argument you could say about this move is black will likely want to play another move here, which I do immediately. And even though it takes big points, it's kind of slow. I played 4 stones in one corner. But on the other hand, I played 4 stones in one corner, and there's like nothing white can really do about it to prevent these from becoming points now. Like, it's very strong. And white is coming under attack. So white has these 2 stones. If we go back to this point, I think this would have been a much better time for white to actually play a move like this. And you can kind of see that if we play out this kind of variation, there's actually quite a bit of opportunity for white to do interesting things. And just live down here. If white can live down here easily like this, this is a disaster for black. Black ends up with really not much. Hey, what's the... Okay. Of course, there's other variations. Let's see if we maybe just play here. This is maybe a little bit safer. Yeah, this is a fine variation as well. Actually, in this case, maybe play that one. Black gets a bigger bottom right-hand corner, but white actually gets enough points in the left to kind of neutralize it. Again, all these points that black just picked up here are basically worth the Comey, right? 4.5 points is about what black can expect to get right here. So I would kind of like that for white. After, in the game, after white plays this move, now these 2 stones are very heavy. And so it's very difficult for white to feel like he can give them up, especially after black plays this. If these 2 stones aren't just worth the 4 or 5 points here, instead it's worth the 15 points in this whole area, right, when white comes around here, that's a different story. But he takes his attachment now. Do notice that if he doesn't make this exchange, black doesn't really want to respond here, right? White will play something more optimistic, right, in terms of splitting these 2 groups and getting this Sibicky shape out. However, right, after white becomes heavy here, and black gets this move as compensation, when white plays here, black is fine to play a little more conservatively. And so I don't need to fight. I can just stay solid and safe, and I already have a bunch of cash. And if everything is safe, then I can focus on reducing the top and, getting 2 or 3 points more, or I should say something like 6 or 7 more points more than my opponent on the board, and that should be enough to cover a 4.5 Comey. All right, so this point, really, this is kind of like the only move. If white tries something like this, actually, this is probably just the best way to go about it. White is not alive here, and that's a big problem. White needs to live. So white needs, this shape, which black just takes this point. Black could play here, but this definitely doesn't feel right. Black's alive enough, like white can't kill, but if black doesn't play again, white will get everything around this corner group. And this corner group isn't that much bigger than the Comey, and it's whether or not black can make more points here or white can make more points at the top. And right now it looks like that'd be pretty plausible for white to do. So getting split isn't that attractive for black unless black comes out with some other Sente or forcing moves against it, which I guess he would in that case. So it's maybe even a possibility. Anyway, I feel like this is the direction to play. And white plays this move, and this move invites the ko. And both of us, like when I play this move, I of course know that white can invite a ko, and that's one of the reasons why I play this move, because this white can't fight a ko. And the reason white can't fight a ko is there's no ko threats. And there's no ko threats because I played 4 stones in one corner, and there's no real weakness. Here's the ko, if you're wondering. Ko. But, you know, this is like white's best ko threat. And, you know, it's just not a good enough ko threat. What's the best response here? I'm not sure what's the best move. This actually kind of solves the problems, but leaves some aji. That might be good enough. That's good enough for black, actually. Like white would have to really work to make something live down here. In the meantime, all these stones are dead. So too big, no ko threat, and there's no local threat either, right? Because black just fills. There's nothing threatening. So that's when black plays here. White can't start the ko, whoops, and white has to connect. And that's already kind of a victory for black. White has to make this very crude empty triangle disconnecting shape in the middle. At this point, I asked for a little bit more, and I think this move might be a mistake. It's really difficult to tell. Let's show you the game first, and then we'll show you some possibilities that we looked at after the game. White in the game descended, and instead of pursuing this, right, because this would be kind of a disaster, black would need another move over here to live, and white would get to maybe not even play that one, play something better. Let's play a better move. Yeah, white would get a very massive top left-hand corner. And even if black got all this endgame, I don't think it's enough. It's definitely not enough to overcome this amount of white territory, never mind the komi. So black killing off the corner right now, not an option. Has to play a move like this. And this move is an empty triangle, terrible shape, but oh man, it does at least 3 things, and that's what we look for in our moves. It protects the cut. It threatens to go deeper into the corner later, either with this attachment or even a monkey jump. And it gives these 2 stones more liberties so that black can push through and cut in between essentially these 3 groups, this stone, and this group. And therefore, in this case, it's the correct shape. Now, white has a choice. White can give up the corner and just get this group out and try building the top and maybe reducing the side. That feels very unattractive though, because it feels like these are dame points in here. Like this is really not. Let's just assume that this works. It doesn't. What does work? We should play a move that does work. I guess this move kind of works, but even then, it still has this problem. Yeah, I'm not even sure there's a move that really works here for white. Maybe this one's the best choice. But oh man, it's not even that. It's not even a no. This is no. All right, no choice. Yeah, at this point, white feels very committed to making this group live. And it's very difficult to link up without being punished. So he plays here, which makes sense. If I really press the factor, if I say, look, you don't get to have eye space, after all these exchanges, I don't have a life either. So even if I'm able to cut off white, it looks very secky. It looks very secky. It might even be white has 4 outside liberties, so it might even be advantage white. It's a secky that I'm barely holding out for. So I didn't feel any need to pop out eye space right now, and instead I just play this move, which is kind of like the central disconnecting move between the effectively three white groups. If white plays here, if black really wants to guarantee safety for everything, we'll play here. But after this move, we go back to that sort of secky life situation, except black will be able to force white down to a half eye, and half eye versus an eye a secky does not make. So white really doesn't want to defend these or connect these two groups, right? Otherwise this bottom group will get punished. And so he immediately just takes the biggest, most profitable living move he can, and I can't really blame him. But once he does, the game is kind of over, because now these 2 stones are too thin, and black will just have a field day pushing them around. And that's what we do. So here's the rest of the game. White plays here. Black play, just to look at the corner, right? I just turned this white corner into a 12, 13 point black corner. It's like a 15 to 20 point swing right there by itself. White comes over here to make life. He takes this reduction, connects, lives over here, and the rest is just very simple poking endgame. This is AGA scoring, so Dame are effectively points. We do play it out. Although he actually, we don't even count. I think he just looks at the board and resigns. If we do a count now, you'll see the difference is pretty substantial. He has 1 capture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12 points on the board plus Comey. Black has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and a half. Makes 21 points on the board plus Comey. Or sorry, no Comey. Just 21 points, period. So even if he had a full 6.5 point Comey, this isn't enough points to win. This upper left hand just die. Just no advantage. Just bit the dust. So let's go back a little bit and talk about some other possibilities. Again, on a 9x9 board, it's nice because you can actually sort of see how the entire rest of the game will play out. It's just really, the entire game just really comes out of this moment. Like what happens here makes everything else just feel so destined. And if you're playing 9x9, you have to sort of recognize that. It's like, once you get to a good enough level, this is where the game gets decided. Move 8. And, where you should be using most of that clock time. Most of that 6 minutes should be happening like right now, reading out the rest of this board as well as you can. And it's not that, people look at it and go, that's really hard, right, to read out the rest of the entire game. But you don't even need to read out specific moves as much as just ideas. And what ideas? Well, what happens if white just settles here? Well, if white settles in Gote, black, can either live here or connect this way. And because of that, should be able to get, maybe not even should be able to get Sente, but actually this is a bad example because white can't really settle, right? Like white doesn't really have a good settling move. So that's not even, I shouldn't even be reading that out. If white can settle easily, all right, yeah, let's put this. If white can settle easily, black still needs to do something with this group, and either needs to connect or find life. And if black still has a responsibility, then that means white will get to play over here first. White will get the big corner, black's corner will get smaller, and white will win the game. But yeah, it comes down to the fact that white can't settle easily, and so when he plays here and here, and I ask here, because he can't settle easily, he has to change his mind. And if the game goes like this, and actually this move I think for him was another mistake, right? This is very greedy. It's trying to prevent black from just living in the corner just in one move. Like it looks great, but the problem is the outside is too thin. So he has to do this right now, which is kind of his sadness, because it would go something like this. And of course, I have the option to do this, which is not happy for him. So the game just sort of comes down to if white is alive everywhere, white wins. If black can kill something, black wins. And it's not really easy to see how black kills stuff. It's actually kind of difficult. Although this move is pretty interesting. Who sees how to live? Who sees how to live? This actually looks very Ko. This move makes Ko, right? If we play this move, this is a bent 4 shape. But white has this move to fix one of these sides, right? And so now we're in this Ko thing, but it's bent 4, but black has an outside group under attack. Very difficult. Something like this. So anyway, this corner group is, and I guess the game now becomes about this corner group. Who can handle this? Any better sequence? This is actually a little bit better this way. because if white wants to start this ko, black will take first. So that's maybe more interesting, or better for black. All right, different game. But yeah, if white wants to kill these 2 stones, then we're going to punish this stone. You just have to be very aware of what your opponent wants, and make them commit to it. Like say, that's what you want? Okay, this is how you're going to pay for it. And I mean, that happens in 19 by 19 Go, but it certainly happens on 9 by 9 board, and the fact that the exchanges are so final, right? Like, this is the entire board, so if something gets captured, like, it's not coming back, you know? It's very difficult to have things get out of hand somewhere else on the board and then pollinate over here, and your opponent finds a sequence to get a free move. It's challenging. I wonder if black should play this first and then play here. That might be a good exchange, actually. It's actually a really bad exchange, because now you lose all this aji that was in here. But it does... That doesn't work now. Okay, never mind. Don't make that exchange. Yeah, that's funny. That this exchange is bad. But if black doesn't play it, white will play it. Like, it's weird. All right, so anyway, like I said, my opponent was very gracious, and we reviewed a few things after the game. He was really interested in the variations where he basically got the top and didn't die here, right? So the variations which he found a way to connect and keep the top. And one of which we found, which I can't remember now, and I feel bad about it, led to him winning by, I think it was 1.5 or 2.5 points. Yeah, what was that? It was like, oh no, no, it was this. Oh, I think it was this one. Yeah, don't take this out, just play on top. Here, let's see if we can do this now. Have to play here, here, here. If this is all forcing, this is an interesting situation. All right, let's kind of score this, maybe. Kind of hard to score. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 1.5, so 8.5. It's about 17 points for black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 14.5 plus Comey, or sorry, 14 plus 4.5 Comey is 18.5 for white. So something like this would be a very, very close game, but it looks like white can more than likely pull it off just because the end game. Although maybe no, black has Sente. Maybe that's the move. But then white gets this side. But then there's this to pop out that one. There's 2 extra points here that we didn't count for. Anyway, go was hard. Very close game. Very close game. And again, when I was playing out my opponent, he thought he wins by 1.5 points. So yeah, maybe this was the. Again, I think this point was the real mistake. White needs to play here. And then I think not play this one. This one I think is a crapshoot based on the life and death in this corner. Very difficult to read out in a 6-minute timer. But this one looks very simple. And even if black plays here. Is this big enough? Just play here. Yeah. I mean, maybe white can play here first. Oh, but then there's this crap. Dangerous. Can't play that way. Bam, bam. No, can't play that way. All right, I think white's still safe, even with this free move here. All right. All right, at this point, I'm just boring you all. You've all seen me win the 9x9 championship at the 2018 Go Congress. I'll be back next year to defend my title, and hopefully get out there and play some 9x9. If you don't already play on what's my favorite Go app for 9x9 is GoQuest. If you don't know about GoQuest on your mobile or tablet device, go play some GoQuest. You might see me on there. My 9x9 ranking is actually really low because I literally kind of do it whenever, and I don't really pay attention to it that often. My 13x13 record, I play those games a little more seriously, but my 9x9 games, I'm like, I'm giving a toddler a bath. Let's play Go in one hand and, wash in the other. So it's a little more casual on my 9x9 game, but it has given me a lot of experience and a lot of confidence. So when I do go into a tournament like this, I kind of feel like I know what I'm doing. And especially if I especially feel I know what I'm doing if I'm actually paying attention and not just, carrying my phone in one hand and like walking down the street and, talking to my friend in the other, because that's what I end up doing if you play Go on your phone and all your games are terrible. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.